to talk about our research on sport hunting. So sport hunting is the taking of a species for its trophy value. Sport hunting generates several $billion each year through trophy fees as well as other indirect revenues. Part of this revenue goes to wildlife management authorities, and part of this revenue goes to local communities, which hopefully will provide an incentive to these communities to protect the wildlife. And so sport hunting success is predicated upon the balance between the taking of species and the use of the revenue to protect the long-term sustainability of that species. And so sport hunting is controlled internationally through CITES. It is implemented at the national level, so in the United States, it's implemented through the Endangered Species Act. Now, in order to trade in species, import and/or export permits may be required, depending on which appendix these species are listed in. They're one of three appendices, and depending on the level of protection, an import and/or export permit may be required. In order to get these permits, scientific authorities in either the import and/or export country must first issue what is called a non-detrimental finding. This is a finding that the trade in the species will not be detrimental to the long-term sustainability of that species. And so sport hunting is significant to the U.S. for several reasons. It was only briefly mentioned in the National Strategy and Implementation Plan. However, one of the objectives of the National Strategy is to create the capacity of local communities to support conservation efforts, and so sport hunting is a tool that could help in that objective. There's also several current bills that are currently pending in Congress on sport hunting and related issues. Sport hunting is also significant because of the U.S.'s role. Currently, the U.S. imports over 38,000 trophies each year, representing over 40% of the trade worldwide. And so, as we are the dominant player, concerns about the trade are often going to be pointed at the U.S. and its hunters when they go abroad. And so our approach was to compile current regulations, data, and research on sport hunting, and then see how it actually impacts local communities and wildlife. And then we crafted several policy options to address concerns that we found. And so we found that sport hunting can support local communities, economies, and conservation as part of a sound management program. However, the results do vary on a country-by-country and species-by-species basis. And so there are several clear success stories, such as the Pakistani markhor mountain goat. This species was at near extinction levels. However, as part of a sound management program, which relied on revenue from sport hunting, it was able to the number of the species was able to rise to near sustainable levels. However, there are some not so successful stories. So last year, Fish and Wildlife suspended the import of elephant trophies from Zimbabwe and Tanzania, citing one of the major issues, which is a lack of accurate data. They could neither find accurate data nor were provided accurate data by Zimbabwe and Tanzania, and so they were not able to issue a non-detriment finding. And so, to address some concerns that we found, we crafted several policy options. The first would be create a set of certification programs. These would be programs where Fish and Wildlife could vet hunting organizations or wildlife management authorities so that when U.S. hunters go abroad, they're going to areas and they're hunting species that are sustainably harvested, and so that the money that is generated from sport hunting goes to conservation and to supporting local communities. The second would be to increase import scrutiny. So the U.S. every year receives over 170,000 wildlife shipments. However, the number of wildlife inspectors and officers employed by Fish and Wildlife is only around 330, and this number has not increased since the 1980s. And so there are concerns that the import of sport trophies is actually being used as a cover for illegal wildlife shipments. And so the third option would be to implement a sunset clause with non-deterrent findings. Currently, Fish and Wildlife is not required to revisit these findings once they are made. And so there are several findings that have been standing since the 1990s. And so a sunset clause would be implemented in order for Fish and Wildlife to be able to gain accurate data after a certain number of years to make sure that sport hunting is not detrimental. The issue with many of these options is that it would require a substantial increase in the capacity and resources employed by Fish and Wildlife, and also could affect the ability of hunters to import trophies due to the length of time and necessary to get these permits. And so now I'm going to hand it off to Delphine.